Now, I think I've said this before. I wonder how many times I've started a sentence with the word now. Or something like, and this is the way it is. Or, here's what's happening. Okay, here's what's happening. It must be about exactly 12 hours ago that we pushed the stop button at the end of the last scene last night. Now, that would be in the rollback, which you haven't seen yet. Now, what I didn't mention was when I used the ultrasonic cleaner to clean this part, which we will talk about in the rollback, on the bottom of the ultrasonic cleaner, I found a little piece of photo etch. It's this one right here. And I was wondering, what is that? And so I was looking at it a little closer this morning. And I thought, that looks like one of the treads off of one of the stairs. So I'm checking this, all the stairs, and I actually found it. It was a tread. Yeah, you can probably see it. You should be able to see it sharp enough that you'll notice that the bottom tread on this one right here is missing. So you might remember, months ago, I guess, when I first started using ultrasonic cleaner to clean the photo etch parts, I mentioned how I was concerned that the vibration set up by the ultrasonic, that's how it works, metal fatigue might set in, and it's doing something like 20,000 cycles per second or whatever. It is bending, and metal fatigue will set in and will parts break off. Well, I am now 90% convinced that yes, that will happen if a joint happens to be rather loose already. Now, I'm 10% convinced that there also is the possibility that when I was messing around when this part was in the ultrasonic cleaner, that I may have somehow broken it off with the tweezers when I was pulling it out. It's possible. But why did it not then just plain bend, like one side break off and then, the other side stay on? Because that's what you would think would happen. But I'm now probably about 90% convinced that yes, the ultrasonic cleaner can eventually break off a part from flexing. Okay, enough about that. Another thing, it's amazing what you see when you've got the macro lens on. For instance, when I was looking at this, when I was rotating it around, right in the center, now of course you can't see it now because we're kind of looking at it at almost normal view, right? And I was noticing that right in the middle of it, there was a little fluffy. And I'm thinking, now how did I do that? And then I remembered that after I had dunked it in the isopropyl. Oh, and by the way, it was sure nice to be able to just go like this and not worry about accidentally releasing my grip. This is just so slick, I just can't believe it's so good. And it's all made out of scrap wood, Now I know not everybody has a table saw and they can't do that. But, hey, find a friend who'll make you a bunch of blocks. Okay, I've lost my train of thought here. Battery number 2 just calved. I have 4 batteries. I have them numbered 1 through 4. And these batteries go back, to when I first got I think when I first started using the D800. I started off with an 800, and then it moved up to 810, and now this one here is an 850. And I'm hoping I should have the Z9 shortly. It's supposed to be being shipped. Some people have theirs already. It'll be interesting to see, how things go there. Anyway, so the batteries slowly wear out. And what I do is I charge them up in rotation. Like this was number 2. It's the one that gave out on me. I have to be more mindful now that they don't hold their charge or to absorb as much as they once did. I imagine they're only holding about 30% of what they did when they were new. And I don't feel like buying another set of these because they're about a little over $100 a battery. Now, a little later, I got curious and I went on Amazon.ca to see, what are the prices. And you can get a sort of a no-name type battery that will fit. My problem with that is that I have found that the 850 will not work with some of those batteries. I think there's probably a little microchip maybe in the battery, and if the 850 doesn't read the microchip, it won't allow the battery to work. Now, I'm just sort of suspicious. I don't trust anybody when it comes to that sort of thing. However, the genuine battery right now apparently is around $100 here in Winnipeg. Now, mind you, the battery for the Z9 is like $250. But anyway, yeah, this is not a cheap hobby, that's for sure. Well, making plastic models can be cheap if you let it be. Anyway, so yeah, I got to be more mindful to keep an eye on the battery meter. And there is a little meter on the top of the camera that tells you how the condition of your battery, and I sometimes forget about it. Now, what were we talking about here? Oh yeah, the fact that the ultrasonic cleaner will wear out the photo etch parts. Oh yeah, and these things here, yeah. All right, so now we're sort of back to where we was. Let's continue on here, and we were going to check and see, is there a residue on the bottom of the photo etch part where it's stuck on this, what is it called, frisket film? Is it frisket? Anyway, I think that's what it's called. It's an artist thing. Artists use it, but if it'll work for our purposes, well, let's go for it. I mean, let's start using it. Yeah, I personally, I think it's going to work. I could sort of tell by the way it was. Well, let's put it under the microscope. But you know what? I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. We better have the rollback, or a lot of this is not going to make any sense. Now, mind you, a lot of this isn't making sense anyway, but you know what? I'm doing the best I can. Our package that is supposed to contain the special sticky paper, well, it came at 4:17 yesterday afternoon. That's far too late to catch episode 1022. But it's not too late to catch the rollback here in 1023. So here we go. Well, I guess our special little lifesaver there that is supposed to light up to mark where people fell off the boat is going to have to take a bit of a back seat here. And I'm not going to bother fighting with this, trying to get it open, making a fool of myself. I'm just going to cut it and get it over with. At first glance, this reminds me of a product that I used to call monocoat. And I used to use monocoat when I was building model airplanes. And I'm sure that I had monocoat almost exactly that color among other colors. It was a sort of a plastic covering like for the wings of the model airplane, and you apply heat to it and it would shrink down and tighten itself nicely over the ribs and what have you. Some of you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Hey, made in Canada. I thought everything was made in China. Okay, now I know that this roll is like 25 feet long. There's quite a, 25 square feet of this stuff. We're never going to use it all up, but I don't think we want to waste it. So I'm just going to cut off about half an inch here, and then we'll stick some of it down onto something, and we'll try it out. Now, in the comments, I think it was, I don't know if it was yesterday's episode or which episode it was. Anyway, we're talking about sticking onto masking tape and so on, and one of the viewers made the comment, and he said instead of having, a large area of masking tape, just have a couple of little strips and lay your part down on it so that it contacts, at the ends. And in that way, it's a lot easier to remove. And also, if adhesive did come up onto the part, there would be very little of it. So, there's that idea too. It seems to me I remember doing something similar to that way back when we did the Bismarck. I can't remember what it was that we did it on, but I do remember laying out some strips and laying a part across it, but I can't remember the details on that now. Yeah, there's been so many episodes. Anyway, just let me recompose here and we'll cut a piece off. Hey, this would be really good for the autofocus on the camera, if I had autofocus turned on, but I don't. Okay, there's a bit of a story behind this ruler here. And you'll notice that there's 4 holes drilled in it here. Well, this ruler used to be part of the miter gauge or T-bar system that I had for a homemade table saw that I used. There was a slot that I had routed out in the tabletop. It was all made out of wood. Had a washing machine motor. It was not my first table saw. It was my second. My first one was actually a pretty good one. And I got the first one around 1967 or 68. No, 67, or thereabouts. Anyway, yeah, and there were the holes here, there was a piece of wood across at an exact right angle, and and I used that for many, many, many years. Yeah, it's surprising I used it as long as I did. And then I upgraded to what I've got now. Well, no, there was one in between. Anyway, it looks like these are marked off in centimeters. So we'll just cut off a strip here about, it looks like if we cut it on this line, it's going to be approximately, I'm guessing 2.5 centimeters. And then we can, cut strips the other way as we need them. But you know what? There is 25 feet of this. I don't know why I'm making such a big deal about it. We'll never use it all up. But as I indicated, though, we don't want to waste it, right? Okay. Now, is this backing going to come off easy or not? It looks like it should. Oh yeah, it's going to come off real easy. Real easy. Okay, let's recompose here. Okay, so clearly we're going to want to be holding it down, right? Now this is just a test. Okay. Now I realize I could have put that on there better than I did. But let's find if it sells a little piece of scrap photo etch now and put it on there really, really good, and we'll let it sit for a while and then take it off. And yeah, there's got to be some scrap photo etch somewhere. Okay. You're probably going to recognize this once we zoom in on it with the macro lens. But it was a little hatch cover. It was a leftover one. And it had been painted, and I'm thinking that it may well have been stuck down on something, and then for whatever reason, it was not used. The reason I concluded that is because I got the paint off of it with the Windex, and then I noticed right along one edge, it just wasn't coming off, and then I concluded that that was CA glue. So I used a drop of debonder, got the CA glue off. Then I put it in the Iwata airbrush cleaner with ultrasonic on, and then afterwards I rinsed the whole thing off in isopropyl. So I am pretty convinced, you might say, that it probably is not going to have a grease barrier between the bare photo etch and this sticky stuff. In other words, it's going to adhere as well as absolutely possible. Now, when I put the macro lens on, you'll notice that one side of this is sort of detailed. In other words, the side you're looking at right now is detailed, but the other side is not. So we're going to put it the way I believe it was supposed to be. In other words, with this side, which is very, very smooth, down on the right there. Just let me recompose here. Wouldn't you know it? Okay. I've got to turn it over now. There we go. Okay, I don't want to damage that little grading system, but on the other hand, it's amazing I didn't already with all the fiddling around I've been doing on this poor little thing. So as you can see, I'm pressing it down pretty hard there. I want to make sure that it's, that the gum on this is going to, okay. I'm wondering if we should leave that for the morning. Let's leave it on for a while so that the gum has a chance to, stick onto the photo etch really good. At least that's my thinking. There could be something weird going on and it's the complete opposite, but I don't think so. I think the longer it sticks on to that paper, the harder it's going to be to take off. At least that's the way it is with masking tape, so I'm just assuming it's going to be the same with this. But you know what they say when you assume, right? Okay, let's leave that for the morning. See you in the morning. Well, it is morning. And I think it is time maybe to put our macro lens back on and very carefully remove this and check for residue from this frisket film. I'm pretty sure that's what you call it. Okay, I've got my super macro on here. I'm hoping this is going to work out because depth of field is so shallow it is almost non-existent. I've got it stopped down to f11, and the magnification I'm guessing is about 4 times more powerful than my macro lens. So we are moved right in. Now, I'm looking at the screen, and obviously you're seeing it too. The part is on the right side, but it is my hope that when I flip it over, it'll still be in the frame. And the idea is, now I better get at it here because I don't want to, my battery's only at about half power. Maybe I should have put in a fresh one. We talked about that, didn't we? Okay, so here we go. See if I can get my light going here. Yeah, I think that's a little better. We'll see what happens. It might be too intense. Now, you'll notice it's going to be going in and out of focus here as I'm moving it. You know, this is actually sticking a lot harder than I thought it would. Just slowly wedge it, because I want to flip it over and not flip it completely out of sight. Oh, it's not working. It's not working. I'm sorry, folks. Well, maybe I'll just have to use the tweezers. It's loose now. Okay, there we go. Okay, we are flipped over. See if I get it in the center. Now rotate it a little bit. Look if I can. Now if I slide this whole thing over. Are we seeing any residue on the surface there? I don't think so. Let's stick it under the microscope. I beat things to death, don't I? We are at approximately the same magnification right now as we were with the super macro. Now we can zoom in a little, and my thinking is to spot something that I think is possibly residue or gum. I also, that little tread that you see that's right in the center of the frame right now, the side that is up was stuck on that I can't think of the name of it. Okay, so I am not seeing anything. Like, for instance, we can see that little piece of paper towel right in the center there. Let's just see if we can. Okay, that's about as much as I can move in here. Okay, if there was anything on that photo etch, don't know if that's better or worse. It lowered the ISO considerably. Well, on the bottom, let me just move in the center there. On the bottom corner there, that little white dot, what is that? Can we get that any sharper? No, I think that's actually a piece of metal, I think. Okay, and the blue to the right there, let's just see what what does this look like if we bring it into focus. That's the, now we're at only about 50 power here. If I was to use my other microscope, it'd probably be, we could move in a little closer, but I mean, I think we probably beat this to death here. Okay, and just check this piece right here. No, there's nothing. So, okay, frisket film. I thought the name finally came to me. Thanks, Jason. Good tip. Now, I want to be fair here. When Jason recommended frisket film, I thought, yeah, I remember somebody else recommending frisket film quite a while ago, actually. It's funny how the memory works. But I couldn't remember who or when or what it was about. But I went on my channel here and I did a word search in the comments. I can do that. And it turns out that our friend Tony, way back in episode 109, just over 2.5 years ago now, recommended frisket film. So, yeah, yeah, like I say, I want to be fair. Okay, just a bit of an update here. I am seeing this like 10 times sharper than we were with the camera. And not only that, I'm seeing it in stereo. And I just wanted to double check. And I am definitely not seeing anything. I just wanted to double check. And of course, we have to do our shot where I say, just for perspective. Okay, so we've checked out our frisket film, and we've concluded that it is very, very successful, at least for what we want. Doesn't leave any residue on the photo etch. Probably won't on plastic parts either. Hey, maybe we should check that. Okay, enough's enough, right? Okay, so then I'm thinking, all right, we can put our hood on the table here and start dropping parts down. Yeah. And then I remembered, yeah, I gotta glue these illuminating life rings into the cage. And I came up with an idea of what I'm going to do. So I think what I'll do is I'll just recompose here and we'll talk about that. I don't know if there's going to be time to do it this afternoon yet. But, I don't see why not. I mean, this is not that complicated. Just let me recompose. Okay, so here's the plan. Now, you can see that there's an opening right here. And my thinking at this point is, if I can very carefully just grab hold of it. All right. Now, let's say I apply a tiny bit of CA medium onto the bottom, and then try to carefully put it back in there, and just drop it in place. Now maybe I don't have this grabbed very good. Maybe I should be grabbing it more in the center like that. That might be better. Let's just try and do a dry run here. You know how I like to do dry runs. I think this might work. Let's give it a try here. Okay, I don't think it matters which way it goes up. Just want to grab on it a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to have to recompose here. Maybe I'll put the macro lens on. That's always fun. Okay, we really only get one shot at this. I have applied some CA medium to the bottom of each one of those 4 copper balls, which are actually gold. Now, I'm looking straight down on it, and it's not quite straight. I'm going to have to just twist it just a tiny bit. Sometimes when I try to fix something, I make it worse. Okay, I'm just going to press down. Whoa. Like I say, I sometimes make it worse. Alright, that looks really good. That looks really good. Now, my concern is that it could possibly glue itself to the masking tape here if it goes down through. Let me get at a bit of an angle here. I don't think it's running right through. I think that's going to be good. Okay, now I'm going to do the other one exactly the same way. So we'll see how things go, probably in the rollback, tomorrow's rollback. So thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.